Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. The Whittaker Circus is in town. Now, for those of you who are like, man, what the hell's a Whittaker Circus? You see that guy in the screen, in the thumbnail who's knocking out that lion? That's Ben Whittaker. Now, this is him right here. For those of y'all who don't know who he is, Ben Whittaker is someone who you guys are going to learn about. Right now, he has 10 wins, 1 draw, 7 knockouts. 28 years old, 75-inch reach. He stands 6'3", fights at a light heavyweight division. And he is someone who is out here making waves in boxing. He just signed the Matchroom. But when you look at this guy right here, I'm telling you, you guys are going to learn more and more about him because he is out here doing the business. Let me pull up something and show it to you, man. Y'all need to see this, man. He fought last night. There's a lot of high expectations for him just because of his style. I don't know if you guys remember the fighter, Prince Naseem Hamed. He was being compared to Prince Naseem Hamed because of just his unique ability to make opponents look foolish while he's in there dancing around the ring and playing around. So Ben Whittaker is a special fighter. He just signed a Matchroom, a very lucrative deal, and they're very high on him, and they expect him to do amazing things in the sport of boxing. But let me see if I can show you what he did to his opponent last night, which was another short of amazing. He actually did the business. Okay, here it is right here. So let me show you what happened last night. Okay, this is Ben Whittaker now. Watch how he knocks this guy out.
The accuracy and the placement. Look at this. Big shots. Gavati in a heap of trouble. What a knockout.
Now you see, when you're doing stuff like that, that equals big time money. Okay? Now, what I noticed about his fight, it was only a round yesterday because I think he learned from all the playing around, but we know he can do that. But when he gets in the ring, you just don't know what you're going to get. But one thing you're going to get for sure is entertainment and more than likely a knockout. So whenever he gets in the ring, the circus is in town. Now, again, he's from the UK. And at light heavyweight, it makes you wonder, is he going to get an opportunity to fight somebody like David Benavidez at some point? Now, it's still a little bit early to start talking about matching him up with a guy like David Benavidez. But when you have talent like this, the sky's the limit. But you got to just take a look and be real about what's out there at 175, and be realistic about, about what he's actually, about his chances against some of these killers. You know what I mean? When you take a look at these guys at 175, Bertabiev is a problem. Benavidez is a problem. Smith is a problem. Ramirez is all right. Yardy, Benavidez touched him up, but Yardy's a problem too. But when you got a guy like Whittaker that has that athleticism and power, you got to give him a chance at least to get his respect. David Murray has a fight coming up. He and Smith, the guy ranked at number 3, is supposed to be fighting. You got Katia, Barty, Gvozdyk, and Hutchinson. But right here, when you look at this mix, I can tell you this for a fact, man. Whittaker would fit right into this mix. Right now, he could probably, I don't know about, Bertabiev and Bivol. Then you got the big dog Bivol right here. I don't know about Bertabiev and Benavidez, but Whittaker fits right into this mix. When I forget about these top 3, but when you start looking at from number 3 down, Smith all the way down to Hutchinson, Whittaker fits right into this mix. He fits right into the mix, man. And what's interesting is when you come down here and you actually look at the ranking stack, okay, Whittaker is ranked number 12 by the WBO. He is ranked, number 14 by the IBF. And he is ranked number 9 by the WBC. And Whittaker is ranked number 11 by the WBA. So what this tells me is a guy like Whittaker is definitely in position. He just has to keep winning. When you're there on the Eddie Hearn team and you're on Matchroom, you just got to keep winning. and they are going to put you in position for big fights. And he's going to get it. I just did a video talking about, in boxing, you got to have power. You got to be able to entertain. There has to be something special about you if you want to get big money. That's why when I was talking about Clarissa Shields in that video, it's because it's like she doesn't have all those qualities. She has some great qualities, but not the whole package. Like this guy right here, Ben Whittaker, he is the complete package. That's why I think when you really understand, he took home a silver medal at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics in the light heavyweight division. That is a big deal. So he's an Olympic medalist, silver medal, turned pro in 2022, worked his way up by 2024, already claimed the IBF International Light Heavyweight belt. And just recently, he signed a big promotional contract with Matchroom Boxing with Eddie Hearn. And last night, man, he did the business. He got a big first-round knockout, which is what Eddie Hearn needed from him. So Whittaker isn't just another prospect. You know what I'm saying? He's not another guy you take and try to build him up to 20, 25 something fights. Didn't throw him in there with a big challenge. Nah. He's an Olympic pedigree athlete, now fully backed by a top promoter. And he just delivered a knockout that demands attention, and it went viral. And that is what you have to do in today's day and age when it comes to boxing. You got to create viral moments. He did that for himself. So you know who benefits? At the end of the day, he does. Of course, the promoter and everything else, but when you're a fighter out here, you got to bring the circus to town. And that's what he does. Now, what stands out about his style? In last night's fight, he opened up with the sharp left jab, worked the head and body early, then unleashed a combination, culminating in a heavy right hand that ended the fight in 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the first round. When you're able to close the show like that, these guys don't get paid for overtime. When you understand that and you deliver, you will make money hand over fist and you'll become a fan favorite. He showed a mix of speed, timing, and power, not just wild aggression. That combination gives him a dangerous upside. And Eddie Hearn, he didn't know what to do with himself. Eddie Hearn was out there clapping all crazy and shit. He had the handyman virus. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn ain't know what to do. But that's because he's got one. He's looking for the next star. He got Shakir over there, Boots over there, but AJ's his bread and butter. But AJ's on his way out. He got Conor Ben. He knows Conor Ben. Once Conor Ben steps up with someone elite without these little rehydration clauses and all that, Conor Ben ain't going to win. I like Conor Ben. He can fight. He ain't beating them killers down there at 147. Conor Ben can't fight going backwards. But he has somebody who's a true light heavyweight, who's got the height, he's got the power, he's got the reach, he's got the mentality, he's got the style. He has everything. He's a complete package, and that's why this guy Whittaker, he just has to keep winning. It's just a matter of time before he's going to end up in big, big money fights, and the whole world is going to be talking about him. And one thing I'll say, despite being described as flashy, the ring walk, the presence, the confidence, he backed it up in the ring last night. You know what I mean? He even said after the fight, you don't get Olympic medals by hopping around on one foot. I can do it all. And that's the point that I wanted to make, and I wanted to say that emphatically. This guy, although he chooses to bring the circus to town, he's an Olympic medalist, and you got to be something special about you to go to the Olympics and win a silver medal. Okay, I mean, this man was competing for the gold and came up short. Anyway, he does remind people of Prince Nassim Hamed, although he's 6'3", 175 pounds. But with the athleticism, the amateur pedigree, the power, people are drawing comparisons to guys like Chris Eubank Sr. and Nassim Hamed, especially the sense of, they're all British, charismatic, and very dangerous in the ring. And they should float that comparison around, especially when he comes out and KOs somebody after he brings the theatrics outside the ring. And of course, Hamed and Eubank Jr. were different stylistically. Hamed's more wild, hands were down acrobats. Eubank, old school flair. But they just had that vibe, And when you got a big British name with both flash and skill, it just feels similar. So it's actually a compliment for them to sit there and compare Whittaker to the Hameds and to the Eubank Seniors. But I just think last night's KO, it just means a whole lot for him, and it's really gonna set up what's next. It was his debut on the Matchroom. Of course, they need him to come out and deliver. He made a statement. First fights under the big promoters tend to set the tone for what's coming up next. But a KO like that builds hype, builds confidence, and justification for bigger opportunities, which he's definitely going to receive. But he silenced critics. A lot of people looking at his 2024 draw. I personally think he was just ready to get out the ring. I think that he knew he was catching his ass in that fight. But the bottom line is he learned from that draw, showed growth, danger, and finishing ability. And, it gives him big moment shine. A dramatic early KO sells fights. It builds that social media buzz. It makes him an attractive draw in the division, not just another prospect. So now his name is being linked with the Benavides, the Bivals, the damn Bernabievs. At only 10 fights in, 11 fights in. This is where his name is these are the guys his name's being linked to. And that's not by design. He's delivering in the ring is what I'm getting at. He's just not another prospect, man. And I think people are going to see. But as far as what's next for him, I don't know. But they're probably going to keep building him up out there in the UK. Probably push for a region or world level heavyweight contender. Now that he's got the speed, power, he got the backing of Matchroom. Maybe they try to get him 3 to 4 fights next year, stepping up the competition each time. So they're basically going to kind of build a resume up a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to pad it, but they're just going to kind of, gradually step him up in competition, let him continue to go viral, build his profile, and by 2027, shit, who knows? Next year, there may be a big opportunity at the end of the year. But 2027, look for really big things from him. But next year, they're just looking to keep him active. And he's going to make some good money. And that's good, man. I always say, if you're out here boxing, you should make the most money possible. But he has the right attitude. He has the right everything. Matter of fact, some people broke into his house last night. He was out there fighting and getting a highlight reel knockout, and there were people who broke into his home. That's horrible. Horrible. But anyway, expect some title eliminators or ranking bouts coming up and Matchroom to try to rapidly build him as a European or even world caliber name. They know what they're doing, man. When you have an entertainer in the form of an athlete, that combination suggests potential for huge promotions, crossover fans, and maybe fights outside standard belts. So just think big cards, big stages, and big money. So he just got to keep delivering. He got the power, speed, ring IQ. He got everything. He could become one of those fighters who draws just as much for his personality and vibe as skill. He's got what it takes. And Eddie Hearn may be sitting on a gold mine. Right now, Whittaker just got to keep winning. So what am I going to watch for? First, staying his ass out of trouble. Don't want to hear these fighters getting in trouble and going viral for the wrong reasons. But he just got to keep backing up the KO, man. We know he can box against high caliber opposition. He just got to prove that he can, not just outbox him, but keep knocking people out. Setting traps and walking guys into traps and doing the business. And not just improving guys. You got to do this against the elite. You got to do this against those special fighters too if you want people to really take you serious. We just got to find out how good the defense is, the stamina. Can he fight from the first second of the first round to the last second of the last round? That's what we want to know. Big power is great, but endurance, IQ, and pressure resistance are what separates chance from hype. But that's my thing, going to be the IQ. Not the IQ, the stamina for me. What's the stamina looking like? But I just think at the end of the day, if they can get those things right, Matchroom will build his brand smartly. They'll leverage the hype, leverage the charisma, and the knockout ability to get him main events and big money bouts. So let's see what happens, man. I tell you what, his name is starting to matter. That's all I'll say. Puncher, amateur pedigree, formula for success. But he's got to make sure he stays relevant. One bad move, and the hype train comes to an end, and the circus leaves town. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I think Ben Whittaker is the next superstar. First round KO like that says yes. So it is what it is. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.